What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to another Tuffy Talk live show. We are excited here. You got myself, Lade Smith, Carson, Greg the Leg. Michael should be joining us here momentarily as well. But we're excited to be here, being now, I guess, 8 days closer than the last time we were on from NC State football getting started here, baby. So it's crazy, man. But we are getting close to fall camp getting started. That should start 1st of August. So you're only 2 weeks away from camp getting started, which is crazy. So it's happening, y'all. And I'll share a little bit of story here real quick as well, and to kind of get us into our first topic here. But first of all, to everybody tuning in, if you've been with us before, you know the drill. But if you haven't been with us before, any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to put them in the chat. Join us in our conversation here for sure. Always love getting the conversation beyond just the people here in the Tuffy Talk crew. So again, any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns that you have, put them in the chat and we will get to them here today. But with that being said, I'll be honest that over this last week in particular, I decided to go, as I say in the movie Drumline, back in time and listen to two podcasts specifically from two of the bigger moments I think that's happened over the last couple of years in NC State football. And that was
Leave those boys alone. Leave those boys alone.
What you mean, man? No, but one was in particular listening to pretty much all things NC State, so IPS, Pack Pride, you name it, even us as well a little bit after specifically MJ Morris announced that he was sitting, and then the second one was after we beat UNC in football last year, because both those were quite juicy for different reasons. Obviously, just the MJ Morris time was just like, man, like just that was. Like we talked about before, just such a crazy moment for sure in NC State football history. And then obviously the NC State football beating Carolina side, just so amazing in the fact that, we got to send Mac Brown down with, a special gift, all due respect, but say, hey, take this L with you on the way out. So it was fun to listen to. But I do want to ask, and Michael, since you came on late, I'll ask you first, but have you been doing anything to kind of get you ready and get you hyped, to get you excited for NC State football? And let us know in the chat too. Is anybody watching any old games back, any highlights, listening to more football podcasts, whatever it may be? Let us know in the chat what y'all are doing to kind of get yourself ready for NC State football. But Michael, what you been up to?
Yeah, no, I've been like you said, listening to some of the stuff that everybody's putting out. There's other, you were saying IPS, Pack Pride, or starting to get into it, reading about recruiting and stuff. Watch some CJ Bailey highlights. Yeah. Got the Athlon magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, but my cousin and I, before we went to the NC State UConn game at UConn, Greg, and literally like that whole day of the game, because it was a night game, so that whole day we were just watching Brennan Armstrong highlights, just like foaming at the mouth, and
yeah,
So anywho,
that's the game. If you remember, so real quick, go on a side tangent. So I'm doing a picture collage, if you will, for the 50th game tailgate, and I was going through a bunch of old pictures
in a row.
For the 50th game in a row. And so definitely the requirement was at least one picture from every road game, and then just a bunch of home games, not necessarily each game. But I actually found a random picture. You mentioned the story of you and I in this random field in UConn. Remember, I don't know if you remember, like we were trying to find each other because it was like it was.
I was not happy, Greg.
Because I think that was the pin did not show exactly where
Correct.
we were at.
Yeah, no, yeah. Basically, just to go, y'all, that the pin for Apple Maps is not always 100%.
It wasn't even close.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, definitely. If NC State ever goes back to UConn again, I'm really gonna have to think about it. But I mean,
that was a long way.
AK, I'm 99% not going back. It's not worth it. It's just not. It's a terrible stadium. Anyway, but Carson, real quick. I know, Greg. I know. Hey, but I know you got the best for last. I have a feeling, Greg. I have a feeling deep in my soul you got the best for last. Carson, what you been doing to get ready, man?
Just what this is my senior year coming up, so just watching highlights from the past 3 years. My favorite was probably the Clemson game from 2 years ago with Peyton Wilson's pick six.
Mhm.
That was a good one.
That wasn't even the best one though.
No,
But I get it. I get it.
that was kind of a game changer though, for not only just that
was.
game, but for the season, really. If
It
that
was.
play didn't happen. So
Yeah.
But Greg, what about you, man?
I've just been binge watching all the UNC wins. Yeah,
There's been a lot of them.
There's been a lot of
There's
them.
been a lot.
Has there been a favorite one in particular?
Honestly, like, you know, the low hanging fruit would be 21 when I became Greg the Leg. But when they when their kicker missed like what 2 chip shots, and then we won that one in overtime. Especially he missed that really short one in overtime. That's probably my favorite, just because of that was a Drake May game, wasn't it?
Oh,
That was the Ben
first
Finley
one.
game.
Ben
Also, Ben
Finley
Finley
game, yeah.
game.
That was the Finley, yeah. So for those reasons, that's kind of one of my favorites. And then the Reggie 5 touchdown game is very memorable. Yeah, it's weird. I a lot of those games just stick in my mind a little bit more cleaner than a lot of other games, and I don't know if it's just because it's Carolina and it just feels like it gets ramped up a little bit more. But those games just always seem to sit in my mind a lot easier than say like a random UConn game.
And I think last game of the season too, right? It's one of the last ones you remember. Even
Yeah.
And then adding on with UNC, it's like they're always pretty memorable.
Yeah.
Greg, got your man Chung here saying that UConn tailgate food was epic. But see, Greg, you should be offended as if like that's the only time it's ever been epic, right? I mean, that's a normal for you, right?
That one was epic for food
good.
reasons. I mean, they're all epic for different types of reasons, but that one was a surf and turf.
That's
we
right.
had the guy that had his morgue vehicle in his stretcher, and he just kept throwing $100 bills at me.
Oh, that's right. All right, Chung, I apologize. I was trying to throw shade, but Chung, you're right. I will stay in my lane, so don't worry.
Yeah.
But I'm telling y'all, like literally, if we took like the last 15 years of just the wins of NC State football over Carolina, you could get really controversial real quick. Because I'm sitting here saying, y'all, and this might be just because I was there in person, and also too because Greg literally got on the field and waved the flag.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But even without that, like that Ben Finley game might be my favorite.
That was that Ben Finley game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Just because of the fact that I mean, I went into that game once I learned that MJ was not playing. I went into that game with no expectations. Like, oh, Drake May's playing. It's at Carolina. Like, you know, Ben Finley's getting thrown in at the last minute. Like, no expectations to win that game. But how we won it, and the fact that was the longest game ever. It was forever. That review on like the
tight end. Yeah, the tight end catch. Yeah.
At Copenhagen, you know, like that took forever. Going to double overtime, the missed kick, like it didn't get much more epic than that. So, but anyway, so yeah, Chung confirming, yes, all of Greg's tailgates are epic. There you go. But yeah, I mean, Michelle saying, the comeback in Carter Finley is still my favorite. Sure, 2021. It's like for me, it's 1A, 1B. They're both phenomenal.
I saw a lot of people talking. I think it was Savannah 2J that posted like the game that was kind of made you like a college football. I can't remember the exact verbiage of it, but so many people were keying on that 2017. You know, kind of what we were talking about last weekend with the Lamar and Louisville coming in, and we had a little controversy in the chat last week, but. Yeah, I just think that was another classic. You know, State's always good. It feels like State's always good for one of those a year, where it's just some kind of epic win. You know, something that we probably shouldn't have won, if you will. Now, players will always believe that they should win, and of course, you know, as they should. But fans don't always have that same mentality and same approach. But it just feels like from a fan purview that there's always one game a year that we would just aren't supposed to win, and we somehow pull it out. I don't know. I could be wrong statistically, but just from a gut feeling, it feels that way.
I don't think it's necessarily levels Tom O'Brien. I mean, I know Tom O'Brien was almost just like a given of you're going to have one. What the heck was that win? You're going to have what the heck was that loss?
Yeah.
And then you're going to beat Carolina, go to a bowl game. Like that was pretty much every single Tom O'Brien
rinse
season.
And repeat. Yeah.
Rinse, repeat without fail.
Yeah.
And obviously the highlight of it all being his last season, beating FSU, but then losing to Virginia, getting killed by Virginia. But again, the straw that broke the camel's back was, okay, you got the big win, you got the big loss, but you didn't beat Carolina. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for
yeah. And then you had and then you had Maryland 2 separate occasions. One coming back, the epic comeback, and then getting blown out by them the year you have the chance to beat them and then go to the ACC championship game.
Right.
So
yeah.
So you cheat to that point, right?
Yep, exactly. So anyway, so we'll definitely talk some more football here in a second, y'all, but definitely want to jump into talking some baseball here as we are in the heat right now with kind of all right. So the MLB draft, is kind of on the back end now. And so kind of what's next, what guys are going to sign, what guys are going to stay, whether it's current players or high school commits, whatever that may be. But before we do that though, actually, I want to, I'm sorry, I should have had this ready to go. Shame on me, but what else is new? I've been slacking here today, obviously starting 15 minutes later than we were supposed to, but got to give a shout out to our guys, the dude himself and Ryan Marone representing Team USA for the USA Baseball Collegiate National Team. The layups for sure, kind of like when in my opinion, when Trey Turner, Carlos Rodon represented as well. As like, definitely Marone and Duden, are 100% deserving in that position there for sure. So big shout out to the guys, and definitely know they loved it for sure from all the pictures they posted, and glad to have them part of in-state baseball for one more year. So Greg, Ben, any additional thoughts on this, man? Comments?
No, just seeing some of the stuff and stories, just from the family that, Marone's family went over there, and just the pictures that they were posting, and just the time of the life that they were having. And just, I think it's just so cool when you see these athletes just get these type of opportunities, then they go play in cool places. Cool. It's one thing to go like, for football last year, going from Raleigh to play in California, right? Or baseball a couple years ago, went to play in Hawaii. And now you have, a couple guys that played over in Japan. Just the opportunity these guys are afforded, and ladies that are afforded when they play, like the guys are going to play in Maui in basketball, and then the women have played in Mexico a few times and down in the Caribbean for the men. Like, that's just cool. Like, that's a byproduct of being, an athlete and representing your team. So no, awesome stuff.
Absolutely. So, Michael, I want to get your thoughts though. Let's kind of start from the beginning here. Don Fritton getting drafted in the 4th round, 117th pick to the Tampa Bay Rays. So yeah, I know Greg DeLeg is thrilled as can be to see that, I'm sure. So Michael, like surprised at the pick, or you think you would have gone sooner or later? What's your thoughts on it?
No, I think that was based on the year he had. I think that was pretty appropriate, and it's his extra right in 2024. Right, he was really good as a freshman. 2024 as a sophomore, his not production dipped a little bit, and then came back up
a couple years. You said 2024.
Wait,
but yeah, 2023 is
2023.
He played 4 years, so yeah,
that's true. Dang, yeah, it's crazy how long.
But he didn't have to come back. Yeah, so it's like he really benefited from that from this year, and he was really good.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
But Carson, do you feel like at all? Because obviously, especially like in the postseason, necessarily wasn't his best, stuff there at the end. So do you feel like that had anything to do at all? That if you finished out a little bit stronger, maybe it would have bumped him up a few spots, or do you think that pretty much probably all these teams had their decisions made by then?
I think pretty much all these teams had their decisions made by then. And the thing with the MLB draft is it's not like every other thing. There's a lot more rounds to go through, and so you have a lot more options in what you can pick. And so I think with that going on, teams are gonna pretty much have their decisions set pretty early on.
Yeah, well, because Greg, talk about that a little bit, because again, the MLB draft is, typically for most sports, if I take you number 1 overall, the top pick of the draft period, for basketball, if you're talking Cooper Flag, for hockey, for football, if I draft you number 1 overall, you got to be playing, period. You have to be almost starting, borderline, but for the most part. But baseball, that's not the case.
No, baseball is just really interesting. There's so many different intricacies to it. First off, it's 20 rounds. It used to be 40 rounds, and so like
Yeah.
that just went down a couple years ago. I think it was the COVID year. I think it went down to 20. But the way they draft, it's just an interesting. If you look, like I don't know enough about basketball, but for football, like the value is slotted automatically. It's like if you're the number 12 pick, you get X amount of dollars. Baseball, they have an approximation value attached to it, but you can sign for lower. Typically, you won't sign for lower, but you can sign for higher because the way they do it is you actually get a pool of money for baseball, and so you have slot values and if you're in those early rounds, they do a lot of focus on high school kids to try to entice them to not go to college. So then they'll throw the bigger dollars at them. Now you'll still get your fair share of college guys, the top end college guys, but the average college guys, high regarded high school kids will go first before like good college baseball players, which is it's just weird. But again, you got to kind of pay for that. So with all that being said, it's not uncommon for a good pitcher like Dom Fritton to go in the 4th round. That's you hear that in football, like, oh, 4th round guy, he may or may not even make the team, right? Or if he does, he might be a practice squad guy or a special teams guy. Right. At baseball, Dom could be 4 or 5 years away from even getting to the majors. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. He's a little bit older. It just depends on where they slot him. The younger guys, they'll probably work a little bit lower. Dom will probably go high A, maybe even double A. Within the first year or so. So yeah, but there's no guarantee that these guys even make it to the major leagues in the 1st round. I mean, especially when you start taking these high school kids, you're literally just, hoping that it really works out.
Yeah. Which is why, I mean, it might be a little bit of kind of recency bias, but I'll be completely honest that, when I saw the 1st overall pick going to a high school shortstop instead of the LSU pitcher who literally threw one of the best games in College World Series history, it has to go to exactly your point, Greg, which is that team is saying, well, I may need shortstop just as much, if not more potentially, than pitcher. And at the end of the day, from a value perspective, like if I'm going to get this shortstop high school guy, if I'm going to make it worth it in order to keep him, I need to spend that extra amount and go get him. So, but
part of that too is the like, for instance, the Nats had the number 1 draft pick, right? They don't like Scott Boras at all. Like, they will not deal with Scott Boras at all. And so some of these guys are represented by Scott Boras, so they're not even going to even put them on their draft board. So you have different factors like that. And then, you have the factors of signability, especially if it's a high school kid. Like, for instance, if we want to jump into NC State, like Heath Andrews did not get drafted, right? Heath Andrews went to the combine. Now, typically those are some of your top rated prospects, but Heath Andrews is only a sophomore, but he's a draft eligible sophomore because he reclassified. Chances are he didn't get drafted, even though he probably got calls. Even he or his agent fielded calls, but they probably didn't meet his signing bonus. So he comes back most likely. So don't read a lot of that stuff into the draft. Like, oh, well, Heath Andrews must suck because he didn't get drafted. Right. That's not necessarily the case. Just like Ryan Marone, he ended up getting drafted late in the year 2 years ago before he came to State, and chose to come to State instead of signing with the Guardians when he got drafted by them. So there's so many different factors, whether you go this year, because again, and Michael's mentioned it before, it's about the leverage. If you're a junior, you really want to go your junior year because that's when you hold the leverage to get signed. Whereas basically, when you're a senior, they can basically just throw table scraps at you, and you pretty much have to sign or just go undrafted free agent.
Yep. But again, it goes back to, I mean, like, do you feel like that now with the way the NIL world is that, it's not as much of a delivery maker as it used to be.
It's not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Again, it just depends on the kids. Like, does he really want to go to school? Like some of these guys just want to play ball. And you can't really default them. And it's an extra year you can get in. Say what you want about college coaches. Are you going to get developed as well in college as you are in the pros? Probably not. They're going to dedicate a lot more time, especially if there's money invested in you. They're going to spend more time doing things. But yeah, we have one with Aiden West. he's probably not going to sign with State now that he got drafted in the 4th round, I believe it was, just a few slots ahead of Dom. You know, he's in line for about $550,000. You know, is that changing money? No, in the grand scheme of things, because you got taxes and all of that. But you know, it's a year to go get developed, and most likely when you see these like the Aiden Westes and CJ Grays get drafted, they've already pretty much worked out the numbers, especially in those first 5 rounds. So most likely we won't see them make it to campus.
Yeah. Well, because it's kind of interesting too, because I'm sure, and Michael, because this is kind of where my head is at, is like, so example, that shortstop that went number 1 overall to the Nats, like there has to come a point where, like, for example, like let's say that shortstop fell to like number 10, right? Like there has to, like, because you know, for most teams, for most sports, if I were to tell you, hey, the guy that you know went number 1, you know, could have gone number 1 overall, is falling to you at number 10 overall, like, you'd be like, home run, like what a value, like absolutely, let's take it. But like Greg is saying, like it could be that maybe now you're not willing, like, because let's say you haven't really talked to him, you don't know where he's at financially, let's say, then you know, you're like, well, do I take the swing and draft him? But then he decides to stay and go to college, and now I've basically got nothing now for my number 10 overall pick. Like it really is a game for sure. But again, that's why I really do think that, I mean, like scouting is huge, but you know, for sure. And having these conversations, especially because again, like there's just so many prospects that you can talk to, because until the draft is really happening, like, you know, you don't know how it's going to go until it's actually there.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, and I think there's something, I don't think you mentioned it, Greg. The first 10 rounds, like the teams lose that money if they don't sign the player. Well, so that goes back to what you were saying, like you have to be sure if you're going to draft a high school guy that he's going to come. So it's definitely tricky.
Well, I'll let Carson get in here in a second, but just a couple, you know, interesting tidbits, right? You have a guy like Jamie Arnold, who's one of the top pitchers in all of college baseball. He went number 11, right? And then you had the ACC Pitcher of the Year this year in Jake Knapp from UNC. He didn't go to the 8th round.
Yeah.
Now,
we had almost a 2 ERA. Crazy.
Yeah.
What's that now?
At almost a 2 ERA.
Yeah. In an aluminum bat era, right?
Yeah.
But again, he's an older guy. He's had some injury issues. You know, and so they want these younger, more guys with more upside, and then they'll take flyers on guys a little bit later in the process. And you know,
Jake Knapp, isn't he? I think he's like 24.
Yeah, he's 24. He's 24, 25. Yeah, he's old.
So
he's old.
You could draft a 17-year-old high school guy.
Right.
That's
8 years.
7 years. 8 years of development to get them in on.
Yeah. But I mean, Carson, so I want to kind of go through, like Greg kind of mentioned, that the rest of the current players that got drafted. So Shane Van Dam went in the 9th round to the Kansas City Royals. You had Justin Acrisio going in the 10th round to the San Diego Padres. Josh Ho going 15th round to Miami. And then Andrew Schaffner going in the 15th round to the Reds. Any one of those guys kind of stand out to you specifically in terms of where they were drafted?
Did you say D-Rock? Did you talk D-Rock too?
No, I didn't have D-Rock. 17th. Okay.
So Colorado Rockies.
Round.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
D-Rock to the Rockies.
Which, I mean, it definitely says a lot, in my opinion, the fact that they took him in the 17th round when, I mean, he basically was non-existent this season. So definitely a lot of belief there, obviously, even still, you know, after basically not playing a full season. So, but Carson, any one of those guys in particular stand out to you in terms of where they were drafted?
I don't think any in particular.
Did you say Hogue?
Yeah. I think he's the only one who
down.
was kind of like, will he or won't get drafted? Will he or won't he get drafted just because of the leg injury?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I couldn't remember.
He's the one.
You're good.
So go ahead, Carson. I'm sorry. I was ADHDing for a second.
Yeah, not too many stand out to me. I think I did expect Shane Van Dam to go a little higher, but then again, you know, with what we've seen with the pitching in this draft at the same time, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. For me, it was Hogue. I was a little surprised though. I mean, he can hit defensively, it's like, okay, what are you going to do with him? Especially just coming off the leg injury, just a year removed from that.
Right.
I thought he would come back. I thought Fraseman had a chance to get drafted, really late, but he didn't get drafted. Yeah, everything else kind of worked where I thought it would be. At just a really quick trivia question, though. We just said DeCrisio got drafted by the Padres. Can anyone name the other two shortstops from NC State that they've drafted in the past?
That's San Diego's drafted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Butterworth. I don't know who.
Yeah, Butterworth last year. Yeah, Butterworth last year. And then this shortstop got drafted by them, but never actually really played for them because he got caught up in a weird trade.
Was it over the last 10 years?
Wasn't that Trey Turner?
It was Trey Turner. Yeah, Trey Turner also got drafted by the Padres.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Dang,
Anyway.
That's fascinating. That's true. Wow.
So,
and because who did Rodon originally get drafted by?
The White Sox.
White Sox.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
He played for them for a while.
Yeah, he did. And now he's blossoming far more than he ever has, for sure, with the Yankees, for sure.
Yeah, he's had a really solid year.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's getting talked about a ton, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for that Detroit Tigers pitcher, he'd have a chance for the Cy Young, but that dude is just on another level.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I mean, any other kind of thoughts right now in terms of, so I mean, like, first of all, I mean, like Michelle Bay says, like, do we actually know who is staying on the baseball team? And obviously that will kind of, I guess, answer itself in the next week or two, if I had to guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, so the portal's closed for baseball right now. There'll be another one right after fall ball happens. So, you can see some movement there. I'm really curious to see how the pitching is going to work out because you've got a guy like Heath Andrews, who was a starter last year, struggled at times. He'll be coming back. And, if you kind of read the tea leaves, your starters, at least are going to be for the weekend, Marone and Duden. That third, is that third person in the rotation on the weekend? Is that an open spot? Will Nance and Andrews compete for that? Or is it going to be Andrews again? Like, Cooper Consiglio's had a really nice Cape Cod league so far. Is he going to be a midweek guy? You've got a guy that didn't even pitch this year in Paisan who had an ACL, who is a starter guy that pitched for UNCG. So from a starting perspective on the pitching, like that's going to be some interesting things to work out. And then there's going to be some more position players that we're going to obviously need to pick up. We've picked up a few, but I expect another 4 or 5 guys probably in the portal, maybe another 2 or 3 arms. So how does all that shake out? Catcher is going to be one of those positions to keep an eye on through fall ball in the spring. You had a guy in Vincent DiCarlo who didn't get drafted, which was weird. I didn't even see his name on the MLB draft list. So if you went to MLB draft tracker, his name wasn't even on there. So I don't know if he pulled his name out and it just never was publicized, or that was an oversight by MLB, but obviously he announced that he'll be here. So you'll have a 3-way battle for catcher. And then, you have an outfield position now to replace in Hogue. So who takes that, So
which, I mean, outfield's, if you're going to replace one position, outfielder is definitely the place to go.
Yeah. So, you brought a few guys in. I expect a few more guys come. Who knows what the post-fall portal will look like, either coming or going.
Yep.
So lots to shake out.
Which they definitely got to do some work there for sure. Because definitely, I think from a bat position for sure, we need a big bat. We need a big bat.
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
I think you need at least 1, maybe 2. But
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Fall ball gets started here real soon too.
That's right. So, Carson, Michael, any final comments before we jump on over? I think probably jump on over some women's basketball here. So
yeah,
let's do it. So, obviously big news, getting a huge commit from Vanderbilt. And I'm totally going to butcher the name. Do any one of y'all want to say it properly before I absolutely butcher it? Camille Pierre. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Camille Pierre.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Camille.
Let's do it.
Spelled a little different, but yeah, I think it's Camille.
Yeah. So, sorry, I shared the wrong screen again. But anyway, I mean, huge gift for sure. I mean, just to finally get again, much needed help. You know, at the forward position. You know, obviously you're getting Zoe Brooks, you're getting, you know, some great guards back, but you need somebody to kind of control the underneath the basket, and this could definitely be a big piece to it. So here, let me finally share the correct screen here. Boom, there we go. So yeah, Camille Pierre, power forward, sophomore, transfer from Vanderbilt, averaged almost 20 points and 10 rebounds a game. So you know, Carson, do you feel like that this is, you know, presumably going to be, you know, a starter? Or you think you see her as being more of a rotation piece, which I'm definitely leaning one way, but before I give my thought, I want to hear your answer first.
20 points a game,
10 rebounds a game.
okay. In the SEC, I would say, you know, coming over, she's definitely a starter, especially in Coach Moore's 4-out sort of 1-in offense. Tilda Trigger is a very versatile player, and so, you know, she makes that sort of rotation very flexible for Coach Moore. So you can probably have her, Tilda, Camille, and then 3 guards in your starting lineup.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like maybe Wes, potentially Michael, is, you know, looking at Camille, looking at Tilda, saying, you know, because I mean, you do have a couple of solid options now down low. Like, do you still, but having really 3 main options right now, do you feel like that Wes will still stick to the 4-4-1 system, or do you think that he may do a little bit more 3-2, multiple more of a balanced traditional format?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Like, you had Madison Hayes pretty much playing the 4 a lot of last year. But this year you don't really have a player like that, at least that we know right now. I think there's some potential options on the roster with the transfer from UConn, Samuels. But yeah, Pierre, like she's not really a threat from the outside. So I think she shot like 17% or something from 3. So it's not like she's going to be a stretch big like Trigger is. So I am very interested to see, because I don't know if you can play her and Trigger at the same time. I think you just might get there might be teams that'll take advantage of that with their athleticism, with having both of them, having those 2 bigs in at the same time.
Yeah,
but again, if you have her play the 5, like who's playing the 4? Yeah, so.
Well, because it really comes down to, and Greg, I mean, this is kind of why I'm kind of asking this question, because even though, you know, Westmore loves his 4-1, like you're saying, 1-in 4-out system for sure, you know, I'm just looking at it saying, okay, you got Tilda, you got a Wu, and you still got Mallory as well, who, I mean, you know, she can still do a multitude of things between now and when the season starts, especially, you know, with this move. There's a chance she could go out, you know, transfer out. But I'm sitting here saying, well, as of right now, you have 3 solid forwards that I'm assuming you feel pretty confident about in a Wu, Tilda, and Pierre. And, you know, in a full season, you know, if you're playing 4-1 system primarily, I just don't really see where a need for 3 solid forwards is really going to come from.
Well, I think Awu, as much as she showed some flashes last year, she's still a project. She's still you know, a work in progress, if you will. Collier, I don't know if anyone's watched any like videos or photos. She looks in really good shape right now.
Sweet.
And so you would love to see her take a step forward. Maddie Cox, I don't know if you would consider them 4s, I guess maybe. It's just, I don't know. Cause I mean, I don't know. But again, it's just interesting the way Wes runs his offense. But yeah, I think this is going to be good from a depth piece. I fully expect Pierre to start. Those numbers just scream starting numbers. That's
definitely
no disrespect to Trigger, but that's definitely an upgrade over Trigger. Now I think they're completely two different players. You know, where
definitely.
if you want a change of pace back, if you will, like in football, you can do that. I was looking at her numbers, and she averaged 20 points. Now, when the competition did get a little bit stronger in the SEC, she didn't quite hit her average, but she was still around 17, 16, 17 points a game, which you'll take that. You'll take that all day. So just something to keep in mind. And her rebounds were just a little bit under her average. So she definitely feasted on some of the lower competition, but not a lot. I'm just nitpicking here, but I'm definitely super excited to get this type of player this late in the process. And then we could, if you want to just kind of keep it light about, how because I know there's been some questions about her eligibility, and I know we had some information that sounded positive in that direction, where she seemed that she disenrolled at Vanderbilt and then enrolled, and then she was approached by the basketball team to come play. So it seemed like she was never really truly in the portal. That I don't remember that guy's name at Wisconsin, but it seems like the Wisconsin and Miami football loophole that I'm sure the NCAA will quickly look at closing as this has happened. I think this is like the third or fourth time that I've read about it, but I think the first one in women's basketball. So they're gonna test this, and I think they're gonna figure out not how to allow this in the future.
Well, and it's interesting too, Carson, as well, because looking at her stats, actually the biggest thing that really pops out to me is, for a forward, with her size, 6'2", and being power forward, she never had more than one block in any single game last year, but she had a good bit of steals. Like one game in particular versus Texas A&M, she had 9 steals in one game. So, definitely, I just like you were saying, I feel like with a lot of, Westmore's, forwards that he's had, it's been more of controlling the rim, hands up kind of defense, blocks were big. But steals there seems to be her thing on the defensive side, which I kind of like, because that tells me it's more of an aggressive style of defense, not really relying as much on your size, but more of your quickness, your will to win on the defensive side. So in my opinion, Carson, I'm interested in your thoughts, but that's what that kind of stat screams out to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a transition phase for Wes in the program. We've not usually when we get in steals, I think when any college basketball team gets a lot of steals, it's generally the guards, not necessarily the forwards. So this is very much a change in pace, very unique stat for a forward.
Yeah. Now, I do want to ask, go ahead, Greg, please.
Yeah, just 2 stats that just jumped out real quick as I was looking at some stuff. She does most of her rebounding on the defensive end at 6.3. So there's that. And she shoots right around, and I'm taking just last year's stats, not her career stats, but she sat right around 50% from field goal. So that tells you she's taking a lot of her shots up in close.
Yeah.
And to Michael's point, she wasn't really much of an outside threat. And I was trying to think of like who she would kind of remind me of in the past, and I was trying to make a Mimi Collins connection, but they're really, other than the height, there's really not a lot, there. Both coming from Power 5 programs, where Mimi came from Maryland. But I think I think this is where Wes is gonna have a lot of like just screwing with the other team and making matchup nightmares. Just playing chess, depending on what he wants to do. I would probably think she's going to be a little bit more athletic to your point over Trigger. So if you want to get out and run, you could probably run with her. Where you want to run more sets through Trigger, you probably can. So, just depending on, matchups and times of, games, it'll give him a lot more flexibility to do what he wants to do.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be a very interesting season this year for Westmore, for sure. As I think, over the last few years that he's really had that core, to really kind of build around. And I think for this year, you're highlighted obviously by Zoe Brooks. I think that Zoe Brooks for this team this this roster is in a tier by herself. Now I think it's Mario Jones, for example, like she has all the ability to be in that tier for sure, but not yet. Definitely, there's still some more steps that she has to take that we've seen Zoe take already.
Zoe's your clear leader.
Absolutely.
Clear
right now.
Clear.
Yeah.
No,
you hope Zamara is what Zoe was last year.
Yes.
A great complementary player, leader in waiting. And if she embraces that role, this is going to be a very dangerous team, right? You always talk about team chemistry, and in today's age of the NIL, it's like, okay, we did a really nice job of holding the core together, and then you brought in 2 nice pieces from the transfer portal, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you can keep that core together, that was a verge of a Elite 8 Final Four. These could be the pieces. Now, let me ask you guys, what does this move do to you or for you for season expectations? Like, where were you before this move, and where are you with this move?
I think
Michael.
I think it definitely raises the ceiling of what this team could potentially be again. I just kind of have to see how Wes fits it all together. Because like we were talking about, it's like, how do you manage her and Trigger, and can you play them together or whatever? But I think it's definitely a more complete roster than it was yesterday.
Carson, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Going off of what y'all have said, Trigger's a very versatile player. So I think she's still going to get a lot of opportunities to play, potentially even start, even if it's at a different position. And then Zoe Brooks and Zamaria Jones as your backcourt. We knew that was going to be really good going in.
Right.
And then I think the real question is who's going to take Isaiah James's role as sort of as your sharpshooter. Is it going to be Devin Quigley, or is it going to be the UConn transfer?
Yeah. I mean, really for me, Greg, that's like, I just still feel like that there's still a huge piece of this puzzle that's missing. Not necessarily just from my eyes in terms of that we haven't seen it. Now, Devin Quigley for sure has the ability to take that step forward, but will she take that step forward is the question. And because if she doesn't, then who will? And do we have that person on the team that can the UConn transfer step in? But also too, a lot of it's like we were saying, team culture. Can these girls mesh together and work? So that's kind of my big thing, is that like I felt pretty good. Obviously, I mean, I've always been told Trigger's one of her biggest fans for sure, even during last season, saying that she should get more minutes. But even Wu, just like you were saying, even though she's still a project, she showed flashes and ability. So definitely for me, I think that if Pierre, like if I in my opinion, I felt like kind of like Carson was saying, having that sharp shooter. I think if we had gotten a transfer there, I would have been more bullish about that move.
So you are bringing in 2 highly touted freshmen. Now, we all know what he thinks about freshmen. Hit or miss.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
that's Wes's bread and butter.
Yeah. Noah Fleischman had an interesting tweet. Did anybody see his tweet? We now have 2 of the last 3 Gatorade Players of the Year from Arizona. Oh. That's kind of interesting.
Weird.
Yeah. So 23 was Pierre, and then 25 is incoming freshman Destiny Lunan, or Kishi, I guess is how you say her nickname. And then you have the other freshman, Adeline.
Jernigan. Yep.
So an interesting interesting basketball fact from the women's is we only have 11 players with this move. So a small roster, if you will. So with that being said, knock on wood, there's not really any injuries, because you don't really have a bunch to play with. Now, granted, you'd only probably want to run with 8 to 9 at the most, but so that would technically, see your freshman with limited action, which I think you're okay with at the end of the day.
So do you feel like, Greg, this is probably going to be pretty much the last significant move besides maybe a walk-on or 2 or something like that? Maybe.
Yeah, I would think it would have to be a walk-on where there's no NIL money involved. I don't know. Here's the other thing. Like, I knew all that new stuff kicks in, or it did just kick in right on the 1st of July.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, honestly, you know, with the lack of transparency, if you will, of how we're using our money, I don't know if we have any money. I mean, and I mean that not, you know, I say it kind of half-heartedly, but who knows what we even have left in the kitty.
Yeah, that's true. So here, before we jump into some football here real quick. So yeah, I mean, really for me, and so I wanted to kind of ask Greg, like, you know, do you feel like that this season, depending on how it goes, because like in my opinion, like if this season finishes with maybe the same finish as last year, let's say, so you know, a AC championship contender with, you know, potential Sweet 16 berth, you know, with this team and the amount of kind of open questions here sitting with this team, and with the fact that we only have 11 players, like that could be just another huge feather in Westmore's hat for this team. But also to the other side, not necessarily saying that, like, in my opinion, this isn't this, you know, if the season goes bad, it's not really going to take a lot away from, if much away at all, from Westmore's legacy. But I mean, it's, you know, it's an ever growing landscape for sure. So it's going to be a question of either, you know, like, you know, is the problem, you know, Westmore's lack of being able to adapt to the NIL era, or is it a question of that we need to put more resources towards the NIL era?
Yeah. So I know you were talking about his legacy. The only way his legacy gets tarnished is some kind of crazy violation would have to happen. I mean, the man has just been phenomenal.
Yes.
And then you said you're kind of throwing out there, you know, the ACC and contending nationally. Look, for me, that's the floor of Westmore's teams is Sweet 16 and contending for an ACC championship. I think he probably would even say, like, the standard is winning ACC championships and Elite Eights or Final Fours, you know, as he should. But from us as fans, I think we've come to expect that, you know, we should be, you know, double buys in the ACC tournament, you know, making it to the weekend, potentially Sunday, and then, you know, second, third weekends at a minimum in the NCAA tournament in and of itself. But I think with this addition, I think you're right back where that floor is. I don't know if we necessarily had it. And again, we as fans like splashy moves, and this is one of those, you know, splashy, shiny moves. They're like, oh, okay, like NC State men's basketball hiring Will Wade, and then you get Darion Williams. Like, okay, there's the splashy, shiny toy that we want, you know. And those little moves just changes the opinion, because no one was talking about women's basketball. Like, everyone was talking like, well, you know, Wes isn't adapting, you know, he's not bringing in, you know, this, he's not bringing in that. And we don't even know, again, like I just said, we don't even know what the numbers is he's working with. And again, he had an expensive core to keep together. I mean, it wasn't like we had a bunch of scrubs on this team, you know, I mean, they he you know, all these women and all these players want their share of the pie. And
yeah, no, that's I think that's completely fair. So let's I decided to change it up here at the last minute just to kind of help us kind of look at things a little bit more clearly. But I mean, Michael, any additional thoughts to that, or you think that kind of Greg hit it on the nail there?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, shocker, Greg being accurate, right? So
broken clock's right twice a day, folks.
Exactly. So I wanted to talk a little bit here about preseason here, you know, specifically kind of go over, you know, the ACC NC State football preseason, you know, teams here. So Justin Jolie got third team All-American. He also got first team All-ACC. Second team All-ACC includes Hollywood Smothers, Shakarius Peak, Brandon Cleveland, and Sean Brown. Third team All-ACC, Noah Rogers, Anthony Carter. And then fourth team All-ACC, Caden Fordham. So
now, this is just from Athlon. This is not official,
correct,
like media.
Right. Yeah. But
media day is what, 2 weeks from now?
Is
it next week?
Next week.
Is it next week? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually the week before camp starts, typically.
Gotcha.
So
Wow, it's crazy. It's already here. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I know.
Did we
So-
just stop? Did we just end baseball?
Yeah.
It feels like it, for sure. It feels like it. But so Michael, I mean, original thoughts when you saw this Athlon list here. Who should have been higher? Who was left off? Who would you have expected to be lower? Something like that.
Yeah. I think Joe Lee is spot on. Like, he should have a monster year.
Mhm.
I think Caden Fordham is low, but obviously
Really?
coming off an injury. So
Well,
it's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But when he went out last year, he was leading the ACC in tackles. So I think if he's healthy and back to 100%, like he could be a first or second team guy.
Mhm.
And then obviously CJ Bailey. It's like I don't know how you have Joe Lee, Rogers, and Smothers on an all ACC team and then not have the guys throwing them all the ball. So,
Well, that kind of goes to the question, and Carson, I'll ask you it is that, I mean, so you think about, the ACC's got a lot of really good quarterbacks this year. You
It
got
ain't
K-Club.
Castellano.
Well, yeah, no, it ain't Castellano. Yeah, no, that's the FSU juice right there for sure, if there is some. But I mean, K Klubnik for sure. You knew Carson Beck's going to get his flowers for sure, even though I don't think that anybody with a true, just looking at black and white, here of like just looking at the player themselves, take away, all of the pageantry at all, like. I still feel like you would take CJ Bailey. Most minds would take CJ Bailey over Carson Beck from a talent perspective. But, even too, the quarterback from SMU, obviously, even though he was a train wreck in the game versus Penn State in the college football playoffs, like
Haynes King.
Yeah.
Haynes King.
But a guy for sure versus Flowers. So I get it for sure. I mean, I think that with CJ, he showed a ton of flashes for sure. And hey, he's a guy that, hey, we love to sit here and talk about, compare his stats with DJ Lagway or whatever his name is from Lagway from Florida, and saying, hey, I mean, the sky's the limit. So Carson, I mean, like what's your thoughts on Michael's comment about CJ not being on this list?
Yeah, I think it's bit interesting. On one side, CJ did show a lot of good flashy moments last year, but at the same time, he did show a lot of freshman mistakes. Now you could argue that, given his situation, those are freshman mistakes, and he was kind of thrown to the wolves.
I see what you did there.
Great after Grayson's injury. But at the same time, he was a freshman, right? And when you look at a lot of those mistakes, a lot of it was because of bad play calling. And so I understand why they didn't put him on here, but I still think that given his situation, he deserves at least some respect.
Yeah. Like I think he would. I don't think you could probably put him any higher than fourth after Klubnik, Jennings from SMU, and Haynes King. So it's like it's just funny they have 3 skill players on the teams, but not the guy who's going to be throwing them the ball. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of, Greg, I want to kind of hear from you. Who's a guy either on here that you felt that you're bullish on, that you're more bullish on, that you feel like should have been higher, or who's somebody, like to Michael's point about CJ, that wasn't on this list that you feel like should be on this list? So who's kind of a person that you're more bullish on than Athlon is?
Okay, first off, I want to talk about CJ real quick. I sent you guys check the Discord real quick in our moderators chat, and I sent you the guy that picked CJ 15th in the ACC, and tell me you think that guy knows football.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I had to stop myself.
I'll say it. I don't care. Like that guy knows football.
He's that writer who ranked CJ Bailey 15th in the ACC is literally blind. He cannot see. He's literally blind.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Good talk.
That's where we've come. But go ahead.
I did. I mean, okay.
He's obviously accomplished a lot, but he is
Yeah.
literally blind.
Jokes
Anywho.
write themselves. Okay. I'm not picking on a man's disability, but
No, we're not.
like, how do you
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense that CJ Bailey is 15th in the ACC. Like, when you look at the list that's ahead of him, like, guys that haven't even played in the ACC are getting ranked ahead of CJ Bailey. Like,
Teams that don't have a starting, like, they have a quarterback battle, like, are being ahead of CJ.
Well,
yeah. How do you pick the guy from Carolina? It's either this guy or this guy. We don't even know who the starters, but he's better than CJ Bailey.
Right.
Like,
right.
What are you doing? I can't even take you seriously.
No.
But it just goes back to this, and this is where I wanted to bring it back to this particular list. I guarantee you, this guy right here, or team or lady or whoever did this composite list here for Athlon, there's no way that they're picking CJ Bailey 15th as their quarterback if you're putting all of these guys on the list. Because if you're saying that Justin Jolie is third team All American, unless he's running like Jay Samuels, like wideout sprints or whatever that play is called, jet sweeps. I think that's what I was trying to say. Unless he's running that 90 times a game and that's how he's getting all of his yards, someone's got to get him the ball. Like, you got, AP, which is all purpose, and Hollywood catches the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So
he's
got
running back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means.
Yeah. And then you got Noah. But I think I'm with you, Michael. I think Caden has the biggest upside of this list to really break out. I think he could get to third, maybe even second. To see Anthony Carter on this list and Jacarius Peak, I think those are the most two underrated mentions right there, because we know what we got in pretty much all the other offensive skill positions. What's that offensive line going to look like to hold up CJ Bailey so he can get the ball to these guys? So I think those two those two picks are the most underrated.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that Jacarius Peak easily, has the talent to be an All-American for sure. But one guy in particular, though, because I mean, I can sing all the praises for sure for Jacarius Peak and Anthony Carter for sure. Is I think both those guys are going to have really great seasons for sure. But obviously, those aren't the guys, unfortunately, due to the position they play, that get most of the focus. So I got to talk specifically about my. Go ahead before I.
Yeah, no, real quick. I think the other one that's going to be potentially underrated here is Brandon Cleveland, because he's not going to have to suck up two guys this year because of our defensive scheme.
4-3, yep.
So I think he has the potential to really break out as well. That was the other point I wanted to make. His role will look vastly different than it has the last couple of years. Yeah.
No, for me, I mean, and I've heard plenty of other people as well that have talked about this one player in particular, but Hollywood Smothers, to me, I think has all the makings to be, like, just from a single season, from a test standpoint, one of the best NC State players that we've had in recent memory for sure, from a talent perspective. Like, how smooth this guy is when he plays. Like, this guy, you let him touch the ball and he's going to get you 4 or 5 yards just by his versatility, by his abilities to not only just run with the ball effectively, but also too with the receiving game as well. Like, even when he stutter steps, he's still moving forward so smoothly. His ability to read, like, it's like Hollywood Smothers screams out Nyheim Hines to me, but even a little bit more effective from the receiving side, in my opinion, because Nyheim is more from a speed standpoint, while I think Smothers is more of a shifty standpoint.
He's more dynamic.
Yeah. Exactly. So so I think that Hollywood Smothers for sure. I'm going to call it first team All ACC. I think he's going to be our first 1,000-yard rusher that we've had since Reggie Gillespie. So yeah,
I think that's very possible.
If he doesn't get 1,000 yards, I will be shocked. If he doesn't get 1,000 yards rushing, I'll be shocked. So yeah,
for me, about Hollywood is two things.
Yeah.
Can you keep him fresh? Like
Yeah.
I hope they don't lean on him too much. Like, so you need a second guy to kind of step up, right? Last year you had Jordan Waters and him that were able to split really good. So you need a Duke Scott. And then, how well are they going to spread the ball around, right? Like, is Joe Lee going to get enough touches? Because to me, like, I felt like at times we underutilized him a bunch last year, right? And then the other part of that is Noah Rogers going to step up, because Noah Rogers has the talent to be a second team All ACC type of guy. He just has to put it together. Now, in fairness, last year was really his first full year and over a year of really getting a lot of reps. And again, you had a new quarterback that was breaking in. So now when you have all these guys now, Jolie, CJ, Smothers, Rogers, that they're all second year in the system. Though we do have a new OC, but it's going to be roughly the same kind of stuff that's going to be ran.
Sure.
So do they all take big steps their year two in the offense? So that'll be the other thing for me that I'll be watching.
Yeah. Carson, what's your thoughts on this list, man? Who you liking? I mean, and specifically, I because we haven't really talked much about Sean Brown. Actually, I mentioned your thoughts, Sean Brown, being a second team All ACC linebacker. Like, are we not giving Sean Brown enough love? Maybe is that what Athlon Sports is telling us?
I think that might be true. I remember a lot of people were not happy when Sean Brown switched positions, but I think Sean himself has adjusted to that really well.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Michael.
Well, I think this could be. He was good last year. He stepped up a lot with Fordham out. He ended up being one of the semifinalists for the Butkus Award, so one of the top 15 linebackers in the country, which I think kind of surprised some people.
That's a good point.
Very under the radar as well.
Yeah. And I think this could be a big year. Like we were saying, he switched positions. So last year was his first year playing linebacker. Second year as a linebacker. I think it could be a big year.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other point, there's a lot of there's several defensive guys on this list for a team that we don't think the defense is going to be good. If you listen to all the fans talking, because you know what I mean, and you're up the middle too. You got two linebackers and you got a nose tackle on here, which is where you want to be strong, is up the middle. And you've got a couple of guys that I think in the secondary that might surprise a few. I don't know if they'll get to All ACC status. And that's what's hard for me sometimes when I'm looking at these lists, because I don't follow the other teams as closely as I probably should to know, who else is at these positions that could really do some damage. So it's hard for me sometimes. And of course the homer in me is like, yeah, of course he's the number one, ACC guy at that position. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what the list looks like from the whole ACC media. And then you just kind of have guys now to kind of monitor and watch throughout the season.
Yep. Yeah. And we'll definitely do more position by position breakdowns too as we get closer to the season. Carson, do you have any additional thoughts? Sorry.
Nope. I think we pretty much all said it.
Well, and the last thing which I'll say and just remind everybody, because this is something that, at this point it's kind of, probably lost its, I guess, protection, right, if it had any protection at all. But one guy in particular that was super, probably the most bullish on Caden Fordham, after Caden's first year at NC State, was Peyton Wilson. I mean, when Peyton Wilson was asked, who's the guy right now NC State fans should watch out for, he easily said Caden Fordham. That guy is going to be the next big guy. So Caden definitely showed that potential, just like Michael's saying, leading. And from a tackles per game standpoint. And so, in my opinion, just taking that next step of not only just, controlling your role, but can you be a little bit of that eraser that Peyton Wilson was, taking that leadership standpoint, but also taking that kind of elite, step. And I think this could be the year that it happens. But it's a lot of questions around new defensive coordinators, new scheme. How's it all going to work? It's and in my opinion, that's the thing that makes me so the most uneasy about this season is a lot of it's I don't know. Even from a media perspective, I feel like there's going to be a lot of just kind of talking based off of the past, not based on what they're seeing right now, because whatever they're seeing right now, it's not much. So because Doran's definitely kept it behind closed doors for sure. So, but yeah. So, any other final thoughts about football? Otherwise, want to jump on to one more big topic here specifically.
Nope.
No, good deal.
Yep.
So, Carson, I know you had kind of brought this up in the Discord as well to talk about this, but NC State volleyball released their schedule, and if you want to see their full schedule, you can check it out on their Twitter page at PackVBall. And Carson, any kind of matchups particularly stand out to you when you saw the schedule would come out?
So in the non-conference, South Carolina at home should be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for volleyball, they always start the season with like tournaments where they play like 3 teams. And this year that opener is going to be in Raleigh, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the ACC, you have Georgia Tech, Louisville, and SMU at home. Mm-hmm. So those are some pretty good games that fans should circle on their calendars. Georgia Tech, October 19th, Louisville, November 7th, and then SMU. SMU is actually the last game of the year, and that is November 29th.
Weren't they the last game last year too?
Yeah, I think last year it was in Dallas, though.
Mm-hmm.
This year it's in Raleigh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just interesting that one of the top teams that could be a big momentous, seeding type of matchup.
Yeah. But even too, I mean, on the road, having to go to Pitt and go to SMU this year should definitely be a good test for them. You're playing Wake Forest on the road, as well. So I don't know. Again, new coach this year, which wasn't expected at all. Heading into the offseason last year, but
you're keeping it in the program though.
Right. Well, yeah. Promoting the associate head coach to the full-time head coach, but still, I mean, it's it's going to be, and because even though there's a good chance that it's probably going to be similar in terms of styles, in terms of from a team build perspective, there could be some significant differences this year. Which being that I think have flirted for sure with having we've had one of our biggest wins in state volleyball program history last season, combined with also some. I just feel like we really haven't broke through that glass ceiling yet. We've definitely have put some, a couple of big bangs on that glass ceiling for sure. We really haven't kind of broken through it yet, which is definitely very tough and a very, very tough ACC conference from a volleyball perspective. But that's going to be my question is, can we finally this season break through that glass ceiling? So, I mean, Carson, any predictions on that?
Yeah, like in the last, I would say, few years, one thing that we've definitely struggled with in volleyball is playing against teams that are really good at blocking. Right? I think in my 3 years at state, I think we've lost to Boston College every time. And Boston College is, they're not a great program per se, but blocking is what they've been really good at. Pitt's good at blocking, and they're, a top 5 program. And so when you lose Amanda Rice, probably the best killer in NC State volleyball history, that does raise a lot of question marks for that. Now, keeping Sophie Groom and Courtney Bryant and Sydney Daniels does help you with that, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, love seeing. I mean, if you go to the Pack Volleyball Twitter page, love seeing, a lot of team building activities for sure. Going to Lake, but also too as well. Them visiting actually with a former AC Volleyball Player of the Year and Hall of Famer, Tisdale Brown. Love seeing the coaching staff taking that next point to keep not only just keep the team healthy, but also keep the program, everything around the program healthy in terms of keeping alumni involved, especially an all-time great like Tisdale Brown, who, hopefully some of this is kind of like, hey, can you help us? Like we said, in order for us to break through that glass ceiling in an ever-growing, more competitive ACC volleyball environment, it's going to take all of us, including former players, current players, and coaching staff. Simple as that. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so And just like Michelle says, hey, we'll know more on August 29th regarding football specifically, right? So, Michelle, appreciate you always tuning in.
No, she's talking volleyball, I think.
Oh, volleyball?
Yeah, because the season starts August 29th.
Oh, there we go. Yep. So we'll know more.
We will know football too, right? That'll be the day after the first game. Yeah. I think she's.
Yeah.
My goal is to go to the game on the 29th. Be my first volleyball game because that's an easy one after a.
There's two games on the 29th.
Yep. It looks one against Army and against I think it's Akron. I think is what we were.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I think it was Akron. But
so, yeah.
It looks like I'm just looking at the schedule here. It looks like there's like you get 2 opponents home and away. And that's Wake Forest and Miami. I think that's and SMU. So there's our three double up matchups. So they kind of took the basketball schedule approach.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized we play at Duke in volleyball the day before we play at Duke in football.
Interesting.
I might go to that one then because I'll already be in town and we're not tailgating that weekend. So there we go. Might make a couple of matches.
And hey, I mean, the since they play in Shusheskyville, which is right beside the football stadium, just camp out, Greg. Just go lock yourself in a bathroom or something like that.
Do they actually play volleyball inside Cameron or do they play somewhere else?
I'm pretty sure they play inside.
No,
Cameron.
I think it's Cameron.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's my reason to go to Cameron.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to Cameron before?
I have not. I snuck. When we played in football when we got destroyed. What was that? 2 years ago. I snuck into the. Didn't really sneak in. It was kind of open. I just kind of peeked my head in there. I was like, okay, cool, and then I got out before I maybe got thrown out.
It's 100%. Old school Reynolds Coliseum to a T for sure, man. Yeah, it really is. It's crazy.
I think it's smaller than original Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, much smaller.
It's bigger than current Reynolds, but smaller than OG Reynolds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I saw a game there. I think like 5 or 6 years ago. It was when Zion was playing for Duke.
Ooh, and you went to one of the games at Duke?
No, it was when they were playing state and they beat us by like 15.
Jeez.
I went to the Dennis Smith Jr. game.
I remember you saying that. Didn't you wear blue?
I had a friend at Duke, and he was like, "I can get you guys into the student section, but you just you have to wear blue. Like they won't let you in the building or into that section at least wearing state stuff." But he's like, "Yeah, I can get you in for free."
So what did you cheer like under your breath? Like I don't know how I could keep my crap together.
Yeah. It was kind of just like the beginning, like the first half, we were just kind of quiet. We just kind of stood there and watched. Then the second half, when we started winning, we just went all out cheering.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Even though if I were to tell you after that game that state basketball, I think maybe went on to win maybe one more game the rest of the season.
That was early in the season.
Well, we technically forfeited it after the fact.
Yeah. Darn.
Or vacated it. Excuse me.
We had to vacate all those wins we got. Yeah.
There was actually another guy there who I guess I think we talked to him after. I think he went to undergrad at State, was at Duke for his master's. So he was there behind us with a Duke shirt on. And by the end of the game, he had taken off the shirt and had his NC State shirt on. We didn't go that far, but
not all heroes wear capes, my friend.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Amen. Yeah. So anyway, though, y'all. So again, so August 28th, just like Michelle says, with all the silence and newness, August 28th can't get here soon enough. Yeah. Can't wait for it to get started. But also too, as well, I mean, soccer I think is going to really be a lot of fun to watch this year. I'm expecting softball to finally take a step forward here. Knock on wood over here. So a lot to be excited about for state athletics this year for sure. The basketball team, is going to be kind of a work in progress from inside, but we'll see what happens. And then women's basketball, obviously we're bullish on it, and feeling like that things are going to look pretty good there. So anyway, Carson, Michael, Greg, any final thoughts here, man? Otherwise, what's kind of next for you, man? What are you focusing on baseball right now? Are you watching a lot of tennis right now? Like what's kind of the big thing you're watching right now during this dead time? No All-Star game? No MLB All-Star game?
No, we're doing a podcast, you jerk.
You're not
Right.
watching
I didn't
Otani? Not watching
I didn't watch the
Otani?
home run
Come
derby. I
on.
didn't watch that.
Does it even
No.
count anymore? Did they stop that?
They did stop that, which
Yeah,
is dumb.
Yeah, it was a dumb thing anyway. I think
Yeah.
the whole All-Star thing is just dumb. Like,
Yeah.
at least like hockey and football has kind of made it entertaining, if you will. Like basketball is trying to do it now too with like the little 3-on-3 tournaments, and
Yeah.
I think that's just the way to take these approaches. I
Yeah.
don't know if you could do something like that for baseball. I mean, you have the home run derby, but like I don't know, it just needs to be more exciting. Like you got guys that can't even be named all-stars because they can't pitch because of the rules, but so they won't even be named an all-star even though they have got like awesome stats. Like the whole thing is just dumb.
Weird.
Yeah, it's just weird and dumb.
Well, and that's
It's for
my
the
thing,
it's for
too.
the fans anyway. So make it worth their while.
Well, and just find a way to force the players to be competitive, because like the reason why the basketball All-Star game is a joke, because they don't care who wins or loses. They don't care how many points
Right.
who
Yeah.
scores. They could not care less. But like I still remember to this day, like the game during COVID where it was LeBron versus Giannis, and you pick teams or whatever, and it was like the first to like a certain score, wins. Like that game was, oh my God, that's still honestly from an NBA standpoint is probably my favorite game I've ever watched, because it was so competitive. It was amazing. Like, so in my opinion, if All-Star game is not competitive from a player standpoint,
Right.
who cares?
Yeah.
Like that's really where I stand. So anyway, but with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we'll wrap it up there. I hope everybody enjoyed the live show. I really appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, you name it. If you enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening to us, if you wouldn't mind, leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you also haven't already on YouTube, and make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But with that being said, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We are counting down the days to August 28th, getting this athletic season started. We'll see y'all soon. And as always, go Pack.